The meeting tonight will be held in person at the Benton Harbor High School Library. All persons in attendance must wear a mask at all times other than when addressing the board. Public participation will only be available at the in-person meeting or via questions submitted ahead of time as noted below. This meeting is a meeting of the Board of Education in public for the purpose of conducting the school district's business and is not to be considered a public community meeting. This meeting is an in-person meeting held at the location listed, which is 870 Colfax. Questions may be submitted beforehand to liz.goodwin@bhas.org or presented in person during the public comment section as indicated in the agenda. Board members may be contacted through the emails listed below. Requests for special assistance, including persons with disabilities, may be sent to liz.goodwin@bhas.org. I call this meeting to order officially at 5:40 p.m. We will begin by stating the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, the first item of business is roll call.
Madam President,
Present.
Vice President Bradley,
Present.
Secretary Triplett, present, Treasurer Creighton, Trustee Bowens, Trustee Buchanan,
Present.
Trustee Rocket Martin.
Present.
We have a quorum.
All right, a quorum has been established. Next is approval of the agenda. There is one minor change. If you all recall, we would need to get our bank accounts updated to reflect the change in administrative leadership as it relates to our superintendent. And so Scott has provided us a copy of staff report F3. And you all have that at your desk. And so if we proceed with approval of the appointed interim, we would then be also looking at staff report F3 to update the bank accounts, to notate the change in signatories. And so Mr. Johnson is wondering if the board is okay with adding staff report F3 to the agenda under the business and finance section. So is there a motion to approve the agenda, including staff report F3?
I make a motion to approve tonight's agenda with the added staff report F3.
Supported.
The motion has been made by Vice President Bradley and supported by Trustee Buchanan that we approve the agenda, including staff report F3. Any questions, comments, or concerns? Hearing none, Secretary Triplett?
President Robinson,
Yes.
Vice President Bradley.
Yes.
Secretary Triplett, yes. Trustee Buchanan,
Yes.
Trustee Rocket Martin,
Yes.
motion carried.
All right, next on the agenda, we have public comment on agenda items. Is there anyone here for public comment on agenda items? Hearing none, we'll proceed with the agenda. And I'll save us from reading the lengthy public comment statement. The first item of business is the interim superintendent contract. The first item under that topic is the interim superintendent contract resolution. You all do have a copy of the contract addendum. And so you all have been provided a copy of that. And so I'll give you all an opportunity to look over. See if there are any questions, comments, or concerns or conversation regarding that. And then I will read the actual resolution and give you all an opportunity to further review the contract addendum. Interim Superintendent Contract Resolution, Benton Harbor Area Schools. A special meeting of the Board of Education, the board, was held in the Benton Harbor High School within the boundaries of the district on the 29th day of June 2022 at 5:30 p.m. The meeting was called to order by the president. The following preamble and resolution were offered by members. We would notate those members. Whereas the district superintendent of schools, Dr. Andre Townsend, resigned effective June 30th, 2022 to pursue another career opportunity. Whereas on June 21st, the board appointed Fairplain Middle School Principal Dr. Kelvin Butts as interim superintendent beginning July 1st, 2022 through December 31st, 2022. And we actually did not specify that date in the appointment. We just appointed him. So if we are approving the contract, then it would be through December 31st, 2022. The board may terminate this contract prior to December 31st, 2022. Whereas this board has instructed its attorneys, Troon Law Firm PC, to prepare an addendum to Fairplain Middle School Principal Dr. Kelvin Butts' current contract of employment. Dr. Butts will be compensated at the rate specified in the contract addendum, and his benefits as included in his contract of employment shall continue as he serves in interim superintendent position. A copy of that contract addendum is attached here too as attachment A, which it would be. Now therefore it be resolved that, one, the contract addendum of Fairplain Middle School Principal Dr. Calvin Butts be and is hereby approved. Two, all resolutions and parts of the resolutions insofar as they conflict with this resolution shall be the same and are rescinded. And then this resolution will be declared and adopted by the Secretary of the Board of Education. And you all can see that it's the additional undersigned duly qualified and acting Secretary of the Board and that additional information. So is there a motion to approve? Is there any discussion on the contract addendum prior to us approving? Yeah, so I'll proceed. Is there a motion to approve the interim superintendent contract resolution?
I make a motion to approve the interim superintendent contract resolution.
I second the motion.
The motion has been made by Vice President Bradley and supported by Trustee Rocket Martin. Any questions, comments, or concerns regarding the interim superintendent contract addendum? Mhm. So if you have a comment regarding something that you want to alter or something to that effect, you can. If not, we can proceed with the vote. And then if you have additional comments that you wanted to make, you can do so then. So I guess it depends on whether your comment needs to be heard by us prior to us approving, whether you're in favor or I'll allow you to make that determination.
I can wait till it's not.
Okay. All right, and then as noted, the addendum does note that the contract would be ending December 31st. However, it does indicate that if we do find, however, should the interim superintendent assignment terminate prior to December 31st, the board will provide the administrator within 30 days notice of the termination. The board also has the option of extending the term of this contract addendum if necessary. And so the period that we're essentially providing the interim superintendent is July 1st through December 31st. However, if we are to find a permanent superintendent, other than Dr. Butts, if he does choose to apply, then we would then give him 30 days notice if we do that within that 12/31 timeframe, or be able to extend it if we decide we need to. So if there is no additional conversation, I will have Secretary Triplett call the vote.
President Robinson,
Yes.
Vice President Bradley,
Yes.
Secretary Triplett, yes. Trustee Buchanan,
No, yeah,
Trustee Rocket Martin,
yes.
motion carried.
All right, the motion carries. So congratulations, Dr. Butts. I will now allow the board to make any comments that they would like regarding the contract addendum that we just passed regarding Dr. Butts becoming the interim superintendent. I don't know if it's not effective yet. He's ready for you to come on board, but it's not technically July. So we will ensure that your chair is ready for you as of July 1st. All right, we will start with Trustee Rocket Martin.
Yes, we welcome you aboard, and I look forward to working with you, Dr. Butts. I've said prior to this that I was at your Christmas function with your staff, and I was impressed at how your staff received you when you walked in the room. Not many people get standing ovations from their staff. So I look forward to working with you.
Vice President Bradley.
I would like to say congratulations, Dr. Butts. When this process first came up, we had so many people that we could have gone with and chosen. We had a lot of people. So, and they was like, well, let's like a look at Dr. Butts. And I was like, okay, well, I'll consider it. And I'm looking forward to working with you, establishing a working relationship with the board. You have an awesome cabinet that's going to be behind you, working behind the scenes to make sure that everything is running smoothly, and make sure you work well with them. You got questions, they have answers for you. And I look forward to working you as a board member.
Secretary Triplett.
First of all, I'd like to take this opportunity to congratulate Dr. Butts and to thank him for even accepting this interim superintendent position. It can be a lot, but I had the opportunity to be a part of your interview as a member of the Human Resource Committee for the principalship at Fairplain Middle School. And I was very impressed with your interview. First and foremost, I was very happy that you accepted it at such a late hour in the game as we were trying to fill that position as we had moved our middle school principal to the high school. And that was the one thing that kind of stood out in my mind, first of all, and the confidence that you had that you would be able to do what we needed to do and that you were in it to win it, that you were not going to leave us, you were going to stay. And last year, this past school year was a very trying year. And so people have things they have to say about, well, I looked at the school and this school was so out of control, and this school was this and this school was that. And one of the concerns that I had when the transition was made was I was very concerned about them taking the principal and taking everything out of that building. And that was expressed in our HR committee meeting. Throughout the course of the school year, when many people would have left, and we had people that we hired that were quote unquote top of the line, and for far less than what you had to endure, they left, but you stayed. And no matter how it is that people receive it, how it is that people feel about it, because see, that's not an easy thing to do, to be in a building with large numbers of staff missing. I know from personal experience, there were times when I had for almost a year, 8 vacancies in core classes. And you still made it work. We made it through. And I think I call it the Knuck If You Buck Award. You just fought all the way through. Your credentials, you do have the credentials required of a superintendent, and you're certified in the state of Michigan. This transition is something that is very, very necessary. I think it was very important that on June the 1st, we had somebody in place that could continue the work. July the 1st, that we had somebody in place that could continue the work, that was familiar with the work. You can't lead if you can't follow, and you followed well. So I'm excited for you. I'm happy for you. And if there's anything that I can do, I can only speak for myself. If there's anything that I can do to help you along the way, please feel free to let me know. And thank you again for sticking with the Tigers. And we need more people like you that don't when it gets tough, a lot of people leave, but when the going gets tough, you got to stand, and you stood. So I'm excited about having you as our interim superintendent. Thank you.
Trustee Buchanan.
I would like to welcome you also, Dr. But what is happening in this town is if you get to be superintendent, you are in charge, okay? You can't have nobody running on your left side, your right side, telling you this and that. That's what's happening in this community. There's so many haters out there, okay? But the main thing is our young people that graduate, some of them can't read, or they get kicked out of school for raising their hand to go to the bathroom, and they're gone. We need somebody gonna care about our kids. And I think compared to, I didn't come meet you for one-on-one, because I've had a few problems, but I've heard different one on the board praise you up. You gotta let them know, I'm the superintendent. I've had people, when the other one, he's leaving, and I can understand, everybody coming on each side, telling him what to do. Now, if you had to want to be superintendent, you should have went to college, went to high school, went to elementary school, high school, college, got your degree. But Ben Harbor, this is a wonderful community with young people. You don't know this, but I had a drill team for the last couple of years where I failed and went to the hospital and all that. But this young girl called me the other night, made me cry. She said, Mr. Buchanan, you let me down. You didn't even put us in the parade, and I didn't. But they had with the virus and all that. But Dr. Butt, you stay there. And if somebody's come to you and said, Dr. Butt, why do you want to be superintendent? Tell them, go ask Lou Buchanan. And I'm gonna tell them why you want to be superintendent. I don't want you to answer, let me tell them. Because they don't even volunteer to go to the school to read for the kindergarten. So I've heard from people out here, on this board, you're a good one then. And I want you to stay. And if you have any problem, I'm gonna give you my personal phone number. Now, if I hang up on you, that means I blocked your call, okay? Because I don't know how to work it. But I'm gonna give you my number in case you need some help. I got you, okay? And thank you.
Well, sir, I just want to say congratulations and thank you. And as Secretary Triplett has stated, you are no stranger to the hard work and dedication required within this district, as we can say about many of our staff. And so I know because you stuck through with us at Fair Plain Middle School that you are able to get through this transition with us as well. And so I'm excited about your leadership. I'm excited about seeing you step into this role and seeing the vision that you bring to Benton Harbor area schools to allow us to continue to move forward as indicated by our strategic plan. And so I just want to say welcome. We're grateful to have you. We're thankful. And if it's not putting you out too much and the board does not disagree, I would like to give you an opportunity to say something to the board in response to the resolution that was just passed.
Good afternoon, everyone. I want to say.
He has to turn your mic on.
Good afternoon. I want to say thank you so much for trusting and believing in me. During the interview process for the middle school principal, I did state that I was here. This is the place that I think God chose for me to be. I didn't know where Benton Harbor was on the map. I was on honeymoon when I got the offer and came, and I think it was a divine decision. I came to retire, and my plan is to retire from here. I didn't come to leave. I hope my actions have proven that. You're fine. And I thank you for the opportunity to allow me to continue to assist with the goals, the mission that is already in place. I look forward to working with each and every one of you and prayerfully to get through this transition as smooth as possible prayerfully to do the work well enough to be found worthy enough to move forward as permanent superintendent. But if not, looking forward to still stay and continue to do what God has me to do, which is to help our kids be the best that they can be. Because wherever I go, these are our kids. They're not yours, they're ours. I take full responsibility for them. Just as if I asked when my kids were in school for someone to take responsibility for them. I want to be their voice for the ones that can't be heard or the ones that do not know how to be heard. So I thank you all for giving me, again, thank you for giving me this opportunity to help serve and strengthen Ben Harbor and hopefully build back Ben Harbor to its original glory. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, welcome. So as stated, Matthew Bradley was, Vice President Bradley, my apologies, sir, was ready for you to join us at the table already today, but in order to ensure that we do things in decency and order, we will wait until our first meeting after July 1st. And so you are rolling right in on time. We will have a meeting, I believe it's July 12th, that Tuesday to July 12th. So I know that this was the first the first thing that we had to get accomplished in your leadership. And so I look forward to working with you on getting our agenda set for your first official board meeting. And if you have any questions, feel free as always to reach out to me. And then I also strongly encourage that you coordinate with Liz when she returns next week so that you can get not only appointments with the leadership team, but appointments with the Board of Education to touch base with us individually so that you have that opportunity to build those individual relationships, because each one of us have strengths, not only in our areas of our committees, but strengths that we bring to the board as it relates to our previous employment and life experiences. And so you can definitely build upon those individual strengths as well as collectively. So we look forward to working with you. Go ahead.
And I was just going to say to also check out the Michigan Association of School Boards. They welcome the superintendents to take training along with the board, and something that Dr. Townsend did as well. And I look forward to seeing you at some of the conferences. We do have one coming up in the summer. And if you can't make that one, they got the annual leadership conference in October. So look forward to that. And it's always good to have the superintendents there as well, because you guys bring, experience from that level as well. So thank you.
Secretary Triplett.
Yeah, and I just wanted to piggyback off what President Robinson said and with Vice President Bradley said about the MASB and those types of things that are very, very important. But I just wanted to clarify, you make appointments for us to get on your schedule, and then you schedule meetings as the interim superintendent with your team. And so, I know personally, yesterday I was in a curriculum meeting, and I'm just so impressed. I like the direction. I like it. It feels good to hear curriculum and education, and I think one of the important things is with you being familiar with the strategic plan. And so again, like I said, I'm excited that you're here.
Thank you. Congratulations again, Dr. Butts. If there's no other comments on this topic, we will proceed. I did provide the policy, but that was just a point of reference. So technically our next order of business is under business and finance. This is Mr. Johnson. And as you all recall, we actually took vote on this in our June 23rd meeting, but Mr. Johnson is very attentive to detail. And so he'll go ahead and clarify why this is being brought back before us.
For board consideration, many public school districts, including Benton Harbor Schools, borrow funds through the Michigan Finance Authority for operating purposes each August. Fact analysis: after the state aid note resolution was approved by the board on June 23, the attorney who drafted the resolution indicated that the 3 blank lines printed on page 1 of the resolution should have been filled in before the resolution was approved by the board. My mistake. To protect the integrity of the board's resolution for the state aid note, it's recommended that the board revote on the resolution, this time including the data that was previously omitted from those blank lines on page A1 of the resolution. That data is provided here and it's included on the resolution. Policy reference is borrowing. Recommended policy 6145. Recommended action is that the Board of Education approve as presented the 2022 state aid anticipation note resolution for a not to exceed amount of $2 million with the aforementioned data included on page A1.
All right, is there a motion to approve staff report F1?
I make a motion to approve staff report F1.
Is there a second or support?
Support.
The motion has been made by Vice President Bradley and supported by Trustee Buchanan. Any questions, comments, or concerns? Thank you again, Mr. Johnson, for clarifying and bringing that before the board so that we can make sure we do things integrally. Secretary Tripley, you can call the vote.
President Robinson,
Yes.
Vice President Bradley,
Yes.
Trustee Buchanan,
Yeah.
Trustee Rocket Martin,
Yes.
Secretary Triplett, yes. Motion carried.
All right, staff report F1 is passed. Next on the agenda, staff report F2.
Thank you. The subject is the 2021-22 year-end budget revision. Reason for board consideration: each June, school districts have an opportunity to update their revenue and expenditure projections for the fiscal year that ends for us tomorrow. Facts and analysis: the board approved a budget amendment on June 14. Since then, updated revenue amounts have been received from the state. In addition, over 50 expenditure accounts have been updated to reflect revised cost projections. Board approval of this final general fund budget revision is recommended this evening to make the final budget even more accurate than the budget that was approved 2 weeks ago. The 2021-22 general appropriations resolution includes changes to the general fund, but it does not include changes for the other funds. And in the 2022-23 general appropriations resolution, or GAR for short, that was included in the June 14 board packet, I noticed today that, or yesterday, that some of the data in that resolution had not been updated to match the corresponding amounts on the budget summary pages. Consequently, it's recommended that the 2022-23 general appropriations resolutions be approved in the same motion. Policy references 6230 and 6231. Recommended action is that the Board of Education approve as presented the 2021-22 fiscal year-end budget revision and approve the proposed edits to the 2022-23 general appropriations resolution to match the budget summary pages approved on June 14, 2022.
All right, 1 second.
Okay, yeah, I'm good.
All right, is there a motion to approve staff report F2?
I make a motion to approve staff report F2.
Is there a second or support?
Support.
Any questions, comments, or concerns?
I have a question and a comment and a concern. It's just when these type of documentation, this type of documentation comes before us, and I appreciate the quick eye and what have you to make sure that we are in compliance. But I am concerned, and I had expressed my concerns earlier about, I think this would have given us more time, would have given Mr. Johnson a little bit more time as well. When we talked about our budget hearing and what have you, with it being pushed in there. Usually this budget hearing is toward the end of the month. It's a separate thing. So he was kind of rushed to get it done. And so when you have to rush and push those types of things happen. And luckily he was able to go through and catch those. You know, a lot of times when people ask questions, you know, and as I stated, I refuse to dummy myself down as it relates to anything. And I think it's for the betterment, because when these things come before the Board of Education, you know, these things should be on point and they should be complete and top of the line. And so, again, in Mr. Johnson's defense, you know, we did get an email saying that that meeting usually does not happen that early, you know, and that was a lot of pressure. And so I would appreciate it if the board would even be more considerate, or when we look at our calendar and be more specific, because we do have an annual board calendar. And it says that in the month of June, this is supposed to happen, but we might need to be more specific so that he would have enough time to do what is necessary. But again, thank you, Mr. Johnson, for going through, making the necessary adjustments in this matter.
Thank you, Secretary Triplett. Mr. Johnson, if I remember correctly, the original date that you were thinking about doing it, there was a conflict on the administrative end and not necessarily the board?
I believe that someone was going to be out of town.
Okay. All right.
They out of town now.
And we pushed on through.
Yeah.
All right. If there's no other questions or concerns, Secretary Triplett, can you please call the vote?
They're out of town right now. Amen. President Robinson,
Yes.
Vice President Bradley,
Yes.
Secretary Triplett, yes. Trustee Buchanan,
Yes.
Trustee Rocket Martin,
Yes.
motion carry.
All right, the motion has passed. Is someone parked in the fire lane? Just making sure. Oh, they probably can't get past because of the construction. I was just making sure it was no violations or no fire. All right, next on the agenda is staff report F3. I'll pass it back over to Mr. Johnson.
Thank you. The subject is bank signatories, reason for board consideration. With the current superintendent's conclusion of service to Benton Harbor Schools effective tomorrow, it's recommended that the board update the approved bank signatories. Facts and analysis. During the board's most recent organizational meeting, the board appointed Dr. Townsell, superintendent, and myself as the signatories on all the district's bank accounts at Horizon Bank and at Huntington Bank, formerly Chemical Bank, and more recently TCF Bank. This evening, it's recommended that the board approve the updating of bank signatories. No policy reference. Recommended action is that the Board of Education approve the following bank signatory changes. Remove Dr. Andre Townsell and add Dr. Kelvin Butts effective July 1, 2022, and continue Mr. Scott Johnson as approved signatories for all the district's bank accounts in Horizon Bank and in Huntington Bank.
All right, is there a motion to approve staff report F3?
I approve
You're making the
of the
motion?
change in the bank.
Support.
You said you were making that motion, Trustee Buchanan?
Mm.
You were making the motion to approve staff report? Okay. The motion has been made by Trustee Buchanan and supported by Vice President Bradley. Any questions, comments, or concerns? Hearing none, Secretary Triplett?
President Robinson,
Yes.
Vice President Bradley,
Yes.
Secretary Triplett, yes. Trustee Buchanan,
Yes.
Trustee Rocket Martin,
Yes.
motion carry.
All right, staff report F3 has passed. We are technically at the end of our agenda. Is there anyone present for public comment? Hearing none, is there any new business? Vice President Bradley?
I have new and I have old. But the new one is I don't know if everyone got the email from MASB, but there's an email coming out from Government Relations pertaining to how to submit new resolutions or amendments, and they have to be submitted to MASB by July 22nd. And that's regarding the bylaws that were approved by the Delegate Assembly last year. And if there's, anything updated or anything like that, so you can go on the MASB website and they'll have a list of things on their bylaws and all that. So if you look those over and there's something that you see that you need to have updated or have questions about, you can either talk to me or go ahead and talk to MASB, because I know we did have some things that came up in the Delegate Assembly last year pertaining to language about charter schools and all that and different things of that nature. So just wanted to put that out there for new business.
Thank you. Any other new business? Vice President Bradley, you can continue with your old business.
All right, old business, of course, you just heard me say it, Summer Institute is coming up, the 19th of August to the 21st. I know Ms. Rockette, Trustee Rockette Martin has signed up as well, and I know a few of you should be signing up. Get with Liz. The annual leadership conference, putting that plug in your ear to make sure you have your calendars marked for that as well in Traverse City. And if anybody out there is interested in running or know someone that's going to run in any school board election across the state, MASB has a program called Get On Board. They do have virtual events, town halls going on. This just to get the general public or people who are interested in running for office more, giving them more information about school board work, because a lot of people honestly don't know what a school board does, or they think it's coming in or doing a lot more of that. So it's just to give people a little more heads up on what to expect. So that's all.
All right, any other old business? I have one. So I know that we indicated that we wanted to get with the stakeholder group to go over the characteristics of a superintendent, the job description, and review search firm options. My suggestion to ensure that we do that as quickly as feasible would be to consider doing it July 16th, that Saturday. Liz returns on the 5th. That would give us about 11 days or 10 days, depending on when she can get something together and sent out to invite them and see if they're available, but also ensure we don't get too far into July. Or we can consider doing something that following Saturday, which is the 23rd, but I would think the 16th might be best as it relates to timing. So I'm going to coordinate with Liz once she gets back. If you all can check your schedules and let me know if the 16th of July works for you. Vice President Bradley, I know that you travel, and I figured that might be convenient for you, being that you're more than likely going to be here for the meeting on the 12th. And then that way you can also be present for the 16th. But more to come on that to ensure that we can continue to move forward. There's no other old business from, Secretary Triplett?
Well, I was looking at the, I know that we have, are we still having the retreat on the 30th?
That one would be the 30th. I just didn't know if that was too far of a window of time to push that out to.
What
Yeah.
time are you thinking? Are you still TBA?
I'm thinking we wouldn't start any earlier than 10. Secretary Triplett can continue.
Yes, I thank you for not allowing me to be interrupted, because I lost my thought. I'm just kidding. But yeah, so the 30th of July. I think also when we talk about the stakeholder group and strategic plan, having that kind of conversation, that people come from all different types of backgrounds.
Mhm.
Right now, I think, when even if we look at it at the 1st of August, we have an interim in place. We have things that we need to be doing, and that'll give people enough time to make the necessary adjustment, instead of saying in 2 weeks, because they come from all walks.
Okay.
So I would like to put that out on the table.
So maybe the July 30th meeting could be a combination of the two. We could do one in the morning session with our group, and then do our unity building in the evening, because we're normally on a high note after we work with the stakeholder group, and that might bring some positive energy into the unity retreat. And we do a full 8-hour day on the 30th.
Yeah, so we do have time to really discuss.
To
but I was
really
just
plan
saying
it
that
out.
Urgent, the urgency right now, I think at the forefront is transitioning our interim superintendent into position and making sure that things are secure. And then, we look at it a month out for to give them enough time to adjust their schedule. We have CEOs, we have regional superintendents that participated. We have professors and all different types of people that are on that was on this particular thing. And the goal is to get them in there to be able to have that conversation.
I have no objection. I just didn't want to be accused of dragging my feet.
Okay.
All right. Any other old business? Hearing none, we'll move forward to board member announcements and comments. Trustee Buchanan, I'll go ahead and let you go, because I know you have something you need to do.
Again, welcome, Mr. Butt. Call me if you need some help.
All right, Trustee Rockette Martin.
Just that I'm loving this efficiency. and being able to move along and get the work done. I love it.
Thank you, trustee Raquel Martin. Secretary Triplett.
I've said what I needed to say. I'd like to welcome Dr. Butts to Ben Harbor Area Schools and in the position of interim superintendent. And thanks again for even accepting and helping us along the way.
Thank you, Vice President Bradley.
I'll be real brief. Welcome, Dr. Butts, again. Well, you know, you're already familiar with the district, so welcome to the role of interim. Look forward to working with you along with our distinguished cabinet. And we'll touch base here when you start.
All right, and my comment again is welcome. Congratulations. I too am excited about how quick we were able to move this meeting forward, and I look forward to connecting with Dr. Butts on how we can continue to do so as it relates to the development of the agendas for our regular board meetings. And those are my only comments for this evening. So if there's no other comments to be noted, I will call for a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Support.
The motion was made by Secretary Triplett and supported by Vice President Bradley. Any questions, comments, or concerns? Hearing none, Secretary Triplett.
President Robinson,
Yes.
Vice President Bradley,
Yes.
Secretary Triplett, yes. Trustee, I'm so used to going this third, no, Trustee Rocket Martin,
Yes.
Trustee Buchanan,
Yeah.
meeting is adjourned.
The meeting is officially adjourned at 6:21 p.m.